Hello stamping friends, it's Angie here with Too Cool Stamping, and we're here with another live class. I am so excited to show you this class because it is totally beautiful, and it's kind of your last chance to get some of the really important parts of this bundle that I'm going to show, because the last chance retiring list was just released last week, and the dies of the thoughtful expressions are going to be retiring, and that makes, I can't even tell you how sad that makes me, because I've been telling you for a couple of months now how much I enjoy this whole die set, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But it is it really is a phenomenal set with some beautiful label shapes that I thought were going to be well, to me they're an instant classic, but I thought they would definitely be kept around because they are so awesome, but they're not, so get them now. Anyway, Thoughtful Expressions is our class today, and I will show you those dies. The stamp set is going to be carrying over, and it is a beautiful stamp set, but of course the paper, Poetic Expressions, also retiring, and that really makes this collection as well. So we'll get to that in a minute. Just another reminder, yes, the last chance list, the retiring list, has been released. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure to go to toocoolstamping.com and scroll down. You'll see the information about the last chance list. And don't forget, it's both the mini catalog as well as the annual catalog. Both have lists right now because they're both ending on April 30th. So coming up really shortly, and on April 9th, you'll be able to see some of those retiring items go on sale at a discount up to 60% off. So check back on April 9th and you'll see some of those items on sale. If you go to my website, toocoolstamping.com, and print out the two lists, you'll be able to see which items will be on sale at that time. Okay, so we're going to be doing this class. Like I mentioned, I really think you're going to love it. And we will be doing a 5-card class kit like we do many times. You'll need to have the class or the host code available and put into your order of at least $45 or more to get your free class kit. You'll get all the parts and pieces to create the class. You'll just need to add the stamps. If you want the dies, definitely get those, but you won't need them necessarily for, you could always do fussy cutting for the parts that you need. And then you'll need to have the inks, of course, and adhesives, and anything else will be supplied in your kit. All the embellishments, I'll have any embossing that's done, any of the intricate die cuts that are just in the cardstock, that'll be done for you as well. The only die cutting that isn't done is anything that is stamped and then die cut. It's hard to stamp on a piece of die cut cardstock, and I'm not allowed to do stamping for you per Stampin' Up's policy. So anyway, it's a great kit, and it's well worth it if you want to earn that for free with a $45 order and using that host code. We're going to flip the camera around. I'll show you the host code, and the class will be offered until April 8th. So be sure that you place your order by then. You'll definitely want to be placing that order soon if you want to get some of the retired merchandise, because some of those retiring things go very, very quickly. All right. So let me show you our host code for the class, CYJ7JBF9. So you'll go to the checkout page on your order at toocoolstamping.com. Just click on the Shop Now link. That'll take you to my online store. And the checkout page will be right where you add that host code. It's right above all of the prices and all your subtotal and your total there with tax and shipping. Okay, let's look at this beautiful collection. I absolutely love it. It's the Poetic Expressions Suite, and it starts with the Thoughtful Expressions stamp set. Beautiful imagery, perfect for coloring in if you like to do Stampin' Blends or if you like to do watercolor pencils. This is really fun to do. There's also some really awesome sentiments and just really fun to color. So if you're like me, I love to color. So this is a great set, and every one of the cards has coloring on it. This is the Thoughtful Expressions dies I was talking to you about. Of course, it has some of the die cuts for the imagery in your Thoughtful Expressions stamp set, but it also has additional intricate dies You'll see a flower, some leaves, another leaf shape here and here, little tiny flowers, and then my favorite part that I'm so sad about, look at these beautiful, beautiful shapes. We've used them on a couple of my other class kits already because I just couldn't help it. They just were absolutely gorgeous. This label shape in particular, just classic and beautiful. I can't believe they're not keeping it, even as an online exclusive. It makes me so, so sad because I just want to keep using it. But you can still get it right now. It's still available. If you get it as a bundle right now, that's 10% off getting them separately. But this one will be retiring. The stamp set is in the new catalog. So if you like that and can't get it right now, you'll be able to get that later. Okay. Next up, Poetic Expressions Designer Series paper. And this is so beautiful in so many of my favorite colors. You have boho blue. You have some Lost Lagoon. Here's another pretty piece here with a very subtle pattern. Another Lost Lagoon piece. Another boho blue striped. And then this one is kind of a Mossy Meadow and Lost Lagoon together. Then check out the back sides. Some beautiful Wild Wheat bubble bath. I'm loving these papers. Just, they kind of remind me a little bit of wallpaper when I was growing up. That'll tell you how old I am. But I love this really dainty pattern with wild wheat and some bubble bath flowers, and then this last one in Moody Mauve. So some beautiful coordinating papers that just look so elegant with the imagery and the thoughtful expressions. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our class today. The first card is a fun fold starting right off the bat, and it's in boho blue. It's a traditional 5.5 by 8.5, and then we'll be scoring at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. So, and I'm gonna make just a Z fold style card. So this will go fold back on itself. And because it's a Z, you really want to get that crease nice and crisp. That way it'll lay as flat as possible. You might even want to do it on both sides. I put my little point way down into it and really crease it. That way it will lay as flat as possible. You'll also want to do that to this middle score line as well. It's good on every card, but especially on a card that folds back like this. Okay, so here is our card base, and then we're going to add, I have a 3 by 5 1/4 inch piece of the Poetic Expressions paper, and I'm going to have this kind of overhang that piece there, and it'll have a little bit of a border. And so what I want to do is, I don't want to have any adhesive go showing through the back, so I want to flip this over. So I am going to line it up. That way I know exactly where I need to have that adhesive. So no farther than that. And I'm just going to use Seal adhesive. You could use Seal Plus. You could use Tombow glue if you wanted to. So here is that card. I love that, just as a kind of a fun little style. Then I have a 1 by 5 1/4 inch piece of boho blue. This one is in the distressed tile embossing folder, already textured. And that goes so beautifully with the patterns in this paper in Poetic Expressions. It just really complements it very well. So there is our background. Next up, I'm going to create a little focal point foundation. So here is one of the die cuts. This is Lost Lagoon, kind of a larger die cut. I love the way these nest together and layer. And something to keep in mind, you'll want to either, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can have kind of the scallop at the top, or have it more flat at the top. So that's something to keep in mind as you're designing and putting your elements on your card. For this one, we're going to have a little scallop at the top, a little corner or a point, whatever you want to call it. So this also has to be the same direction. This is basic white, just the next nested size down. We are going to stamp the sentiment in boho blue. Sometimes there are no words, so we're going to add that with dimensionals to this one, this layer. And I'm going to hold back. You know me, I love dimensionals. I would put twice as many on there probably, but I will hold back just for the sake of time. I know there's some of you out there laughing at me right now. It's okay. So there is my layer, and then I'm going to add this to my card front. You could put your Lost Lagoon on first if you wanted to. It probably makes more sense. And I'm going to put it right about here. Okay, now let's decorate it a little bit. I have just a scrap piece of basic white, and we're going to stamp some of those images from Thoughtful Expressions. Because we're going to do coloring, I'm going to use all Stampin' Blends. You know, you can color with Stampin' Markers, you can color with watercolor pencils, whatever you would like to color with. But I'm going to stamp several of the images with Memento Tuxedo black ink. And whoops, that wasn't a very good one. Let's try again. And one more. These images are really great for layering and making like a whole bouquet of flowers or a whole sprig or foliage that is kind of layered and really pretty. So let's get my Stampin' Blends over here. These are all the colors that we want to put together. I'm not going to be coloring everything for you for all of the cards because it would just take too much time, but I am going to go through and show you what I'm doing on this particular one. My favorite is this gorgeous hummingbird. You can color this in so many different beautiful ways. I absolutely love it. I'm using light lemon lolly, and I'm just adding a little bit of yellow right to his head, right to his face. I'm going to go crazy. You could make it more, you know, just one color, but I'm going to go crazy with some different rainbows of color here. So this is boho blue, and I'm using that brush tip end. I love that because it's going to let the color flow very quickly and color in those areas very, very easily. Next, let's do some Lost Lagoon, and I'm using all light colors on these just to make it easy. You could do some shading on it with some darker colors if you wanted to spend more time. And next, I'm going to do Fresh Freesia. Did I not bring my... I didn't bring my dark, or I didn't bring my light Fresh Freesia for some reason. I didn't get that in the bucket, but that's okay. This is the dark Fresh Freesia. I do like the light. You'll see what I did on my one that I have die cut in a minute. And so I'm just going to add Fresh Freesia to all of this. So make it however colorful you want to. Hummingbirds are so beautiful in nature. They have so many different varieties of colors. I'm going to finish off with a little bit of light moody mauve just to give it some dark color and bring in that moody mauve color. And there is my hummingbird. I'm also going to color in my flowers. So one is going to be with Fresh Freesia, and I would recommend, I see right now I'm having some bleeding with my Memento ink. That will stop if you let your ink completely dry. I mean, just like walk away from it for 15 minutes and let it really get nice and dry before you start coloring. Otherwise, you might tend to have some bleeding. Just the lines get a little bit fuzzy, out of focus a little bit. So just let it dry a little bit. Again, just using that brush tip end lets it go really fast. I'm going to add some lemon lolly to the centers. We'll color the leaves with Lost Lagoon. And then this last little sprig that we have, I'm gonna do some light mossy meadow for the leaves. And then the flowers are going to be in the moody mauve, just to bring that color in again. Did I get it? Yep. And then you can use your Thoughtful Expressions dies, cut all of those out, and I've already done that. So I have my little hummingbird, my two little flowers, and my little sprig here ready to go. And then we're just gonna build this up a little bit. So I'm gonna put this hummingbird up here. Its wings are kind of hanging off the edge here, so I'm gonna put one dimensional up here, and the rest of it I'll just add a little bit of seal. And then we'll add the flowers, again just with some seal, and we'll overlap those at the bottom. So let's add this one here, this one here, and then this little sprig that we made. I'm actually going to cut this in half. So I'm going to have just the flowers and then this little sprig with some leaves, and I'm going to add that with seal. Just tuck it right in there underneath that basic white layer. And we'll do that to the top too. You could get a little more fancy, have more layers. You could use some of the intricate die cuts from the die set. You could really go to town, but that's what we're doing for the first. Oh, let me get my bling. Oh, I forgot that. We can't forget that. We need a little sparkle, right? I'm going to use the in color dots, which I love, and they are retiring, so get yours now. This is all of the most current in colors. We'll be getting some new in colors in the new catalog, and I've seen them already and they're gorgeous. All right, so there's our first card, and let me show you the inside. I dressed up the inside a little bit. You can add a little decoration on your own, and sometimes there are no words. You're in my thoughts today. So I just love how that looks. Now the reason I started out just having fresh freesia as the accent color here, and then when I got done I realized, oh look, it's moody mauve on the inside. So I went back and added some moody mauve flowers on the inside as well as the outside, and a little bit to the wings, just to have it flow together a little bit better since that color was brought into the inside. So something to think about as you're making this style of card when you have the back of the paper showing. Make sure that it coordinates nicely. All right, that is our first card. Next up, we're going to start with Moody Mauve as our card base, just a traditional card base, 5.5 by 8.5, and scored at 4 1/4. And trying to find my bone folder. Here we go. This time, we're going to, that's not it. We're going to start with a basic white piece. This layer is 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're going to add some designer series paper. Let me give you the measurements. It's going to be 3 7/8 by 2 3/4. And remember, with your free class, you'll get a tutorial to go along with it, so you'll have all of these measurements close at hand. All right, next up I have a piece of Moody Mauve that's been embossed already with the Timber embossing folder, so kind of a wood grain look. Hopefully you can see that. And that is going to be 3 7/8 by 2 1/4. We'll add that to the bottom of this layer. And then we're going to cover that middle strip with a 3/4 inch by 3 7/8 inch piece of Lost Lagoon. So that'll go right over the center there. We'll add this layer onto our card base. And then we'll start our focal point. Again, we're going to start with a sentiment and some labels here that we've cut with the Thoughtful Expressions dies. This one's in boho blue, and then we have a basic white. And this time we're going to stamp in boho blue again with "Where in the world would I be without you?" What a nice sentiment. And I'm going to use seal to attach this. I just love how these shapes nest together. I just can't even tell you how sad I am that they're not going to stay. Get them now so you can play with them. All right, this is going to go onto my card, and then we'll add again some stamped and colored accents. So let's put this one about right here, kind of off, little off center. All right, this time I'm not going to do the coloring and everything, but I am going to have many of the same elements. I have another hummingbird. This time I've colored him with a little tiny bit of wild wheat on the bill, bubble bath, some Moody Mauve, bubble bath and Moody Mauve on the wing, boho blue, and then Lost Lagoon for the outer wings. I also stamped this beautiful, I will stamp this image because I want you to see how beautiful it is just in black and white. So gorgeous. I just love it. There's so many, even if you just did a background with all of that in one shade of ink, it would look so beautiful with the two flowers and the beautiful greenery around it. So I stamped that. I used my Stampin' Blends to color that in, and this time I used boho blue for the flowers, Lost Lagoon for the leaves, Moody Mauve for the outer smaller leaves, and then the centers are in bubble bath. And then again, one more little sprig with Moody Mauve for the leaves and bubble bath for the little flowers. So those are ready to go. Let's just pop those up. They're so easy to put on your piece once you get them stamped and colored and cut out with the die cuts. I'm like, oh, they're gonna have the stamps, but then they won't have the die cuts to go with it, or the dies to go with them to die cut them. They don't ask me. I wish they would. I'll stop complaining about it. Just get them now while they're available. All right, we're gonna have this go right across here. Let's do it like right there. And then we'll add our flowers with a few dimensionals as well. All right, this is gonna go, we're gonna tuck him. I left that bill kind of free, so we can tuck this up like this. And then this little piece right here, this little sprig, we'll add that underneath, kind of like we just did on the previous card. and we'll just tuck that in right under there and have it hanging down. We'll finish that up again with some Moody Mauve in color. Dots here. And there you go. If you want to add some Wink of Stella, that would be beautiful. Now I want to tell you something about Wink of Stella. The manufacturer is having a hard time getting some kind of supply to make it. So there's people have noticed that Stampin' Up! Doesn't have it right now available, but neither do many other craft supply companies. So they're hoping to get some supply in by the end of May. So that's what we're looking at right now. But if you put some Wink of Stella on that hummingbird, if you have some already, you're just going to have a really beautiful iridescent hummingbird, which I really love that look. So there's the second card. All right. We have another fun fold for the third card. This one's a 2-part card base. We're going to start with Wild Wheat. This is a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, so it's 5.5 by 4 1/4. Next, we have another piece of Wild Wheat. This one is 3 1/4 by 8.5, and so it's scored at 4 1/4. So we'll get a nice crease on that one. Before we put those together, I'm going to add a couple of strips of Designer Series paper. So this is 4 by 1 1/4, 2 different strips, and it's of the Lost Lagoon pattern of Poetic Expressions. So we'll have one on this side. This is a center flap fold, at least that's what I call it. I don't know if it has a better name than that. If you know, maybe you can tell me. I just always call it a center flap fold, because, well, it has a center flap. So we'll add some seal behind that center flap, and then that is going to go flush to the top of the card and cover up just a little tiny bit of both sides of those strips. Then we'll add some paper to the top here. This is a 3 by 4 inch piece of the Poetic Expressions paper in the Wild Wheat pattern. And I did notice that the flowers are all kind of going one way, so that's something to keep in mind when you put it on there. Try not to have those upside down. So there's our card base, and then we can put an inside piece in there for writing. And again, I have another die cut shape. I noticed that every one of these shapes is Lost Lagoon. I didn't mean for it to happen that way, but that's just what happened, and they all kind of worked out. But so this is a kind of a smaller Thoughtful Expressions die, another basic white. Again, I tend to like the pointy scallop at the top, but you might also want to have it flat at the top. So just something to keep in mind when you stamp your sentiment. All right, this one's going to be in Lost Lagoon, and this one says, "You're in my thoughts today." All right. And then we're kind of just having a theme of putting this directly onto the nested layer here. We're going to add this to the front, and I'm going to have it hanging over. So again, you don't want any seal adhesive behind here, so don't just go putting it on the back. You want to kind of figure out where you're going to have it, do a 180 flip, and then you know exactly where your seal is going to be, how far over to put it. We'll line it up here, and then we're going to add a stamped piece. I have a stamped piece already, that two flower image. This time I have colored both of the flowers with Bubble Bath with some Moody Mauve shading, Wild Wheat in the center to match our card base, Lost Lagoon again for the leaves, and Boho Blue for the smaller skinny leaves. So that's going to go here. But I'm also going to add a few die cuts. So here is a bubble bath flower die cut and a boho blue leafy die cut, and then just a small Lost Lagoon leaf. And we'll add that with some liquid glue. So I think I'm going to put this on first so I know where to put things. And I'm going to kind of keep my dimensionals to the middle so that I can just tuck things under this focal point. All right, so we'll put this, let's see, let's just go right about here. We're going to tuck this flower under this side. So let's just, actually I might use a glue dot. Let's see if I can, yep, I have some glue dots right here. So I'm just going to tuck a little, put this on a glue dot, pull that off, and then I'm going to tuck that underneath like so. And then we'll use some Tombow liquid glue, just a tiny bit, to tuck these leaves underneath. We'll put one over here, and then I'm going to have one kind of sticking out of the top here. I think I'm going to cut a piece off. Don't even need all of that. I just want a little bit sticking out. A couple dabs of the liquid glue, and then we'll put that there. All right, we're going to finish up with some iridescent foil gems. And these are so pretty. These are in the mini catalog, and they are being carried over into the annual catalog, which I am so happy about. I love them because they have kind of a gold tint, so they look beautiful with anything like the wild wheat or anything that has a yellow look to it. They also have a little bit of a pink iridescence to them. So, and even some green and blue in there too. So they really do match quite a few things, and they look beautiful with this particular designer series paper pack. So I love that. So I'm gonna add one here and one over here. Whoops. And then maybe I'm gonna sneak one in here maybe. I didn't leave much room there, but yeah, I like it down here better. Okay, so there is our third card, a fun fold. Let me show you this one I already made and put a little inside decoration there. But I just love how that just kind of overlaps to the side. So that is our third project. All right. Fourth project is in Bubble Bath. We're going to have a basic 5.5 by 8.5 card base scored at 4 1/4. We're going to do a horizontal card this time. I've already embossed the this is a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of basic white embossed with the, I think it's called layered florals. It's kind of escaping me, but I think that's what it's called. Beautiful, and also looks lovely with this stamp set. So I'm going to add that for the background. Get my dimensional backing out of the way there. All right. Then across the center we have Bubble Bath. Again, this is 5 1/4 by 1 5/8 it looks like. Before I put that out on, I'm going to add this piece of Poetic Expressions. This is 5 1/4 by 1 1/2. So this will go flush to the edge with just a hint of the Bubble Bath peeking out. Now we'll add that across the center of our horizontal card. Like so. And then I'm gonna add, oh, first I'm gonna put one of my label dies. This is in Bubble Bath again. We'll add that on with more seal. We'll put that over here. And then I want to just add a little strip of seal all the way across the bottom. And we're going to put a piece of wild wheat textured ribbon. This is retiring as well. And we'll trim off the ends. Ah, I didn't pick the right scissors that were sharp. Get a little frayed there. All right, next we're going to add a stamped piece here. So again, that double flower with the sprigs. This time I've colored in Moody Mauve, Wild Wheat Centers, Lost Lagoon again for the leaves, and some Bubble Bath for the small leaves. And that is going to go here. And we'll go ahead and do what we've done on all of the rest of them. It's just a very easy way to decorate with this, and that is put your stamped focal point on first and then tuck in some other little die cut bits afterwards. So we'll do that. So I'm kind of starting it right at the top. I'm kind of layering it centered in between this strip here. So the top is over here and the bottom is over here, layered in the center. And then I have a few die cuts here in Wild Wheat. So there's two different leaves you can die cut. One is this larger one and then a smaller one. So I'll use both of those. Again, we'll use the liquid glue to add these, just a hint, just a little dab. Sometimes it gets a little sticky there in the end and it doesn't want to come out. There we go. We'll tuck that under here. And then this larger one. Ooh, it's starting to come out now. All right. This one is just going to be kind of over here, tucked under. And then we'll finish up with a sentiment. I already have a little strip here of basic white. It is about it's a 1/2 inch actually. And we'll stamp this pretty enjoy your day sentiment on it. I knew I was going to mess up. All right, let's see if that's better. There we go, much better. Always a second try on the back, so that's a relief. All right, I'm going to banner cut the edge here. I'm going to cut just a bit off again. Banner cut, so go up the center and then corner to center, corner to center. Makes a nice little banner cut. And then we're just going to tuck that in just above the ribbon. So we can put some dimensionals. I'll put about 3 just to make sure that it doesn't droop in the middle. Whoopsie. Stick that under there. Perfect. All right, we're going to finish up with some iridescent rhinestones. Friends, this is another one that makes me so sad. I absolutely love iridescent rhinestones because really go with so many things, but these will be retiring with this catalog. So I'm very, very sad. Get them now while they last. Everything is while supplies last, so you don't want to miss out. So I'm going to use several sizes here. There's large, medium, and small. So I'll put a large and a small, and then a medium size up here. All right, that finishes off that card. I wanted to show you, I've been not doing as many Too Cool cards, and please forgive me, but it's, I figured if I had more classes, then you'd give me some grace. I know that usually I do Too Cool versions of everything, but I'm able to do a little bit more designing and do more classes if I just do one, just because, you know, that's twice the cards. So anyway, but I do have another version of this one. So here is my second version, and this one is a case from Polly Libby. It's almost identical, but it uses Lost Lagoon. I used the Lost Lagoon bordered ribbon and colored in some different colors here with Moody Mauve and Boho Blue. Did some Lost Lagoon leaves. Those iridescent rhinestones look so perfect with that. Mossy Meadow for the leaves on that as well. So those are my Too Cool versions, and I wanted to show you, as you can see, this is Polly Libby's card. Hers is, I almost cased hers identically. She had some different leaves from the stippled roses, and she just had a little tag here of the ribbon where I had mine going across. But I absolutely loved her look, so I couldn't wait to duplicate it. So thank you, Polly. All right, last card. The last card is going to be with Lost Lagoon as our card base. Again, just a traditional card base, 5.5, 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. It'll be another vertical card. Again, we have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic white as our background. And then we're going to have some different bits here to add to our look. So let me give you the measurements here. This is Poetic Expressions Boho Blue pattern. It's 2 1/4 by 1 3/4. And then I also have one that is 1.5 inch square. So let's put those on first. And I'm going to do the lines up and down. This will go in the corner, and then this will go in the opposite corner. Like so. All right, then I'm going to fill in the other ones with basic white pieces that I am going to stamp a little background on. So we're going to use that small flower. Let me get my Memento ink, and we're just going to stamp a random pattern on the background. So I wanted to show you how I was doing that. When I do a random pattern, to make it look like it's kind of cut out of a piece of Designer Series paper, I always start at one corner and work down kind of diagonally. And each time I stamp, I flip it a different way. So sometimes it's a quarter of a turn, sometimes it's a full turn. And then after I get all the way down, then I start filling in, starting the middle, going out. So if I have any on the ends, I might want to just put in a little bit of a piece there, and maybe over here, like so. So you want to make sure that you kind of work from the inside out so that you don't have any weird blank spaces. And we're not doing different sizes here, but if you were to use different sizes of images, I would start with the largest first and then use the smaller ones as fill-ins. All right, so we're gonna color some of these. And since we have a Lost Lagoon card base, we're going to do at least one in Lost Lagoon. We'll do a couple in Lost Lagoon here. And I'm gonna leave the centers white. We'll do another in boho blue. Let's see, let's do 2 boho blues on the opposite sides. Keeping those centers white. And then the last one I'm going to use fresh freesia. And I have the dark here, as I mentioned. I meant to pull the light one, but for some reason I pulled the wrong one. So it's a little bit darker than I would like, but you might like it. All right, and then we'll finish up with some light old olive for all of our leaves. So just to let you know, as I'm coloring these in, as we get to the new catalog, as with many things happening in our society today, some prices are going up in the catalog. So the new catalog comes out on May 1st, and there will be some increases in pricing, and some of the ones that you really want to know about are Stampin' Blends are going up in price. So if you need any of those, colors, or if you have any of them that are starting to get a little bit frayed on the end, this one, I don't know if you can see this, but the end is getting a little bit frayed. So when I go to color with it, it's not as precise as I would like. So I might want to replace that before the price goes up. Also, you're going to want to stock up on your cardstock. Both the white and colored cardstock are going up significantly, unfortunately. I'm very sad about it, but it's just kind of the way things are. And so I wanted to give you a heads up. Be sure to stock up on your favorite colors because it's a significant jump. All right, so I did that already, and then I've already done another panel here with the same style. And this is a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch piece. Let's go here. All right, we'll add that to our card base. And then, like I mentioned, here's another Lost Lagoon. I don't know why I ended up doing Lost Lagoon for that one for every single one, but I did. All right, so I have that. I have another basic white. This one I'm going to do the Where in the World again. And I'm going to use my boho blue again. Again, make sure that you have them going in the right direction, the direction that you would like. And then this time we're going to add a little hint of fresh freesia with the smallest little label from the Thoughtful Expressions dies. I'm going to cut that in half. We used to do this with punches all the time, and I thought, why not do it with this cute small label just to give it a hint of color. So we're going to just have that at the top. And then this at the bottom, just kind of lengthen it again. And why don't we put this one down already on our card front. Make sure that scallop is going in the right direction for however you like it. Then on the back of this, I'm going to do a little ribbon. So we'll start down here and then just kind of fold back and forth. Maybe a little bit less. All right, that looks good. Trim this off. Gotta sharpen my scissors. All right, and then we'll put some dimensionals on that to pop it up. Okay, put this over on the top. Oh, I'm loving that look. I'm loving that. And then I have a couple of little old olive die cuts. So I'm just going to add those with seal. Just a little hint of seal. We'll tuck one right down here in the corner. I would probably, if I were you, I would use some liquid glue. It would probably work a little bit better and not leave any sticky residue. And then I'm going to finish up with another retiring retiring embellishment, and that's the festive pearls. I love these festive pearls. They're classic. You have the real red, you have what used to be soft succulent, but it really goes with any of the Lost Lagoon or any of the bluish green colors, silver and gold, just basics. So definitely stock up on those. They will be retiring very, very shortly while supplies last. They look so pretty with Lost Lagoon. All right, so there is our final card. So let me show you all of the cards again from the class. Get everything out of the way here. Remember, you'll have all the supplies for 5 different cards. And there they all are. All the parts and pieces. You just need to add the stamp set, the Thoughtful Expressions stamp set. It's helpful if you have the dies so that you can cut out all of the hummingbird and the flowers very easily. You'll need some Stampin' Blends on your own or some other kind of markers or ways to color in the different images, and then adhesives and inks, of course, to go with it. But all the other parts and pieces, die cuts, embossed pieces, those will all be in your card kit. To get your class kit for free, you just need to place an order for $45 or more. Go to toocoolstamping.com, hit the Shop Now link. That'll take you to my online store. And then when you get at the checkout page, make sure you put in the right host code, CYJ7JBF9. That will let me know that you're interested in the Thoughtful Expressions 5-card class kit. Again, this class will be available until April 8th to earn, and then I will get that out at the end of that week in the mail to you, as well as a tutorial so that you'll have a printable piece to help you put those parts together. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me for our live class this time. I hope that you've really enjoyed it. Don't forget to get those Thoughtful Expressions dies. I'll try not to complain anymore about it, but I'm so sad. Anyway, and iridescent rhinestones. Definitely get those before they're gone. And anything else that you want on the last chance list, you can find those 2 lists, the mini catalog and annual catalog retiring lists, at toocoolstamping.com right now. And the sale on some of those items begins on April 9th. All right, until next time, everyone, I'll see you later. This is Angie with toocoolstamping.com. Bye-bye.